Daniel, let's start with the reality on the ground. When import competition surged, whole manufacturing towns lost anchor employers, wages sagged, and the tax base eroded. We watched it happen. If the market delivers shocks this concentrated, government has a responsibility to cushion and to rebuild, through targeted protection, procurement, and long-horizon industrial policy that upgrades capacity rather than letting it die. Marcus, I don't dispute the damage. I dispute the tool. Across-the-board tariffs are a tax on your own consumers and firms. We've measured the pass-through. You don't revive the Midwest by raising input costs for everyone from machine shops to hospitals. If you want to help directly: wage insurance, mobility grants, serious training, and investment in clusters. Don't pretend a tariff is surgical, it's not. Daniel, I'm not proposing blanket tariffs. I'm arguing for precision, time-limited safeguards when a policy shock unleashes a flood, local content rules in federally funded projects, and strategic procurement that anchors demand while firms climb the cost and learning curves. Add export financing, infrastructure, and apprenticeship pipelines. We've seen that large plants can seed spillovers. The state can help make those seeds take root here instead of abroad. Marcus, precision sounds good. It's also hard to maintain. Every sector will claim strategic status. Without bright lines and off-ramps, temporary becomes permanent and you entrench unproductive producers. Meanwhile, consumers pay more and innovative rivals are blunted by protection. Competitive pressure is uncomfortable, but it forces upgrading. Some of the most innovative responses to Chinese competition came from firms that faced it head-on. Daniel, competitive pressure can upgrade survivors, but it also wipes out capacity that's strategically valuable. Semiconductor tools, specialty chemicals, certain machine components, when those disappear domestically, you lose more than jobs, you lose know-how and supply security. We learned that with PPE, chips, and grid hardware. A market that ignores systemic risk underinvests in resilience. That's where policy steps in. Marcus, then talk straight about resilience insurance. If the concern is supply security, design instruments for that: stockpiles, diversified sourcing, transparent supplier audits, incentives for dual sourcing critical components. Don't use tariffs as a backdoor. And be honest about the price tag. Resilience costs money, which should be appropriated and reviewed, not hidden in consumer prices. Daniel, agreed, price the insurance. But there's also a dynamic component: learning by doing, scale effects, and spillovers from advanced manufacturing into the broader ecosystem. If we let those externalities leak abroad, we undercut our future productivity and defense base. Strategic demand through procurement accelerates the learning curve at home. That's not hiding costs, it's investing where private actors won't capture the full return. Marcus, fine, but put performance contracts on it, milestone payments, clawbacks if targets aren't met, auctions to discover who can deliver at least subsidy. And sunset clauses. Too many strategic programs turn into open-ended support regardless of outcomes. If a sector can't meet export benchmarks or cost-down trajectories, the money should stop automatically. Daniel, I'll take milestones and sunsets. But match them with place-based policy. The costs of trade shocks aren't spread evenly, the remedies shouldn't be either. Support clusters where the spillovers are largest, not just where lobbying is strongest. Co-locate training, supplier development, and infrastructure. Tie apprenticeship funding to employers, not just schools, so people get paid to learn on real equipment. Marcus, place-based policy also needs discipline. Don't chase every ribbon cutting. Use transparent criteria and independent evaluation, counterfactual job creation, genuine wage gains, spillover measures. Publish the results. If a program misses targets, end it and reallocate. The goal is capability, not headlines. Daniel, on trade instruments, there are shock response cases where temporary safeguards are better than permanent openness that assumes frictionless adjustment. When the adjustment machinery is slow or non-existent, learn to code is not a policy. Temporary breathing room can keep a supply chain intact while you retool. The alternative is to lose it and then discover it's not so easy to rebuild. Marcus, temporary safeguards must be credible as temporary. We've done safeguards that drag on because the politics are easy, beneficiaries are concentrated, costs diffuse. That's why I prefer tools with built-in termination, declining subsidy schedules, automatic review by independent boards, and requirements that firms co-invest and meet export or productivity targets. If the case for continuation is strong, the data will show it. Daniel, let's talk consumers. Yes, tariffs raise prices. But consumer surplus isn't the only metric. If you compress producer margins to near zero and offshore the gains, you get cheaper goods at the cost of national capability, bargaining power, and community viability. A modest premium for strategic sectors can be worth paying, just like we pay for fire departments we hope never to use. Marcus, capability matters. I'm just saying target the capability, not the entire category of manufacturing. Some sectors are rightly global, forcing domestic production is a deadweight loss. Others are mission critical, do the work to define them and support them directly. And never stop measuring the trade-offs. If a program costs $500,000 per job sustained with little spillover, kill it. Daniel, measurement is core. Build a permanent industrial policy scoreboard, domestic value add, export share, cost down rates, patenting, supplier deepening, energy intensity, and regional inclusion. Tie executive comp of recipients partly to meeting these public metrics. Put labor at the table. Workplace training and safety are productivity inputs, not afterthoughts. Marcus, we're converging. You're describing disciplined industrial policy. I can live with that if it replaces, rather than accompanies, indiscriminate protection. And we need a matching adjustment system for those still hurt by trade and technology, portable health benefits, relocation aid, and serious wage insurance that actually pays enough to matter. Daniel, exactly. Also immigration reform to fill skill gaps in advanced manufacturing, paired with domestic training. Plus permitting reform so plants don't die on the runway. If we want capacity, we must build fast, clean, and fairly. Marcus, last point, policy stability. Investors won't build fabs or tool shops if the regime whipsaws every cycle. Commit to multi-year frameworks passed with bipartisan support, with pre-committed reviews. Predictability is a subsidy all by itself. Daniel, predictability, performance, and purpose. Protect when necessary, upgrade always, and evaluate relentlessly. That's a version of protect US manufacturing that strengthens the economy without taxing it indiscriminately. Marcus, then the disagreement shrinks to tactics. You reach for targeted shields, I reach for direct, transparent investments and adjustment. Both reject blanket tariffs. That's a debate I'm glad to have. Daniel, and it's one we can resolve with data. Set the goals, watch the scoreboard, and be willing to pivot fast. The country can't afford another lost decade of drift. Marcus, agreed. Build capacity, not complacency.